Welcome to the Older Kids Podcast, where we revisit movies from our childhood and see if they still hold up. I am Elliott GB, and today I am joined by return guest, comedian, podcaster, mom. If you know her, you love her. If you don't know her, well, you're gonna love her. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Dewa Dorje.
Can I have an Azuga?
Azuga. What's up?
What's up? What's up,
Not
Elliott?
much. Not much, man. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Now I feel bashful.
All right.
After the intro.
Not at all. Glad to have you back on. I think you were on, what episode were you on?
Beetlejuice.
That's right. Beetlejuice. And now you're back with another 80s classic.
Yes, I love Big Trouble in Little China. I got a lot to say about it. I got a lot of memories.
Okay.
Let's go.
Well,
Do
let's
this.
get into it. As you heard, we are talking today about Big Trouble in Little China.
This is Jack Burton in the Pork Chop Express, and I'm talking to whoever's listening out there.
It's a pretty amazing planet we live on here, and a man would have to be some kind of fool to think we're all alone in this universe.
There is a hidden world where ancient evil weaves a modern mystery.
What's going on here? Is this some kind of...
Magic. The darkest magic.
They call it Little China.
Finally, we shall bring order out of chaos.
It's where Big Trouble was waiting for Jack Burton.
Who? Jack Burton. Me.
Jack!
Jack?
Jack!
They told him to go to hell.
You make one move.
And that's just where he's going.
Somebody, I don't care who, tell me what is going on.
How are you gonna spring us?
I have no idea.
All right. Well, wow. What a trailer we just watched.
That was intense. It doesn't do the movie justice.
No, that was pretty short and sweet, actually.
Yeah.
But all right. So what's your connection to this? Why'd you pick this movie?
Well, first off, I wanted to set off like this. As an Asian American, speaking as an Asian American, I am this whole podcast, everything I say is putting everything aside, the racism and xenophobia and all that, which is all good fun, right? It's a great movie with that aside. We all know all that stuff. But that aside, it's a great movie because Kurt Russell's hot and hot Asians fighting in the streets. I think that's what we all want. That's how we like our Asians, fighting in the streets. Right? No? I can't hear you anymore, Elliott. I don't know what happened, but I can't hear you anymore.
You can't hear?
Oh, there you go.
Oh.
When you were laughing, I didn't hear you laughing. I saw your mouth, but no laughing.
It was, yeah, that's how I was laughing, just to kind of throw you off. Just a little internet funny, you know. Hey, that's a fun. Actually, I'm going to do the ad read real quick, if you don't mind. This episode is brought to you by the internet, okay? You can really prank people a lot of ways on there. So get at it. April Fools ain't the same no more. Internet.
Yes.
So, well, actually, I do have to say, though, this episode is not sponsored by the internet, the World Wide Web or the band. But, I am looking for sponsors, so it's just kind of like a free, taster. So if Big Internet is out there and they liked what they saw and they saw what they liked, get at me.
What about like if AOL was sending those discs anymore?
Oof. Yeah.
Would you want your name on those?
I'd want my face on it. With my mouth right where the donut hole is. And then there's a little bubble that says, "You got mail." Oh.
No, yeah, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
I guess the other thing is I actually in college I wrote a paper on this movie. Actually.
For real?
I did, and it was a very serious paper about representations of Asian men in Hollywood film.
Oh wow.
But yeah, it was a very serious paper about Lopan, actually, David Lopan specifically. But I approached this with good fun. But
So that
I didn't remember it at all. It's been 20 something years since I watched it, and I was surprised. I didn't remember a lot of what I saw, but
Yeah.
it's hilarious. I think
yeah.
it holds. Kurt Russell looks hella good still.
Still?
I mean, those boots. The
Oh.
boots.
Oh, the boots. I want to be Jack Burton for Halloween, and the biggest thing is like, how am I going to find those boots?
I mean, if you really do it, I'm not gonna lie to you. If you measure your calf, I will make you the top part. If you can get the
Are you
bottom part, I
serious?
can make you the. I don't say this to everybody, but I'll make you the shaft of the boot.
Wait, you don't word it like that, or you don't offer it to everyone?
I've never offered. See, the thing is, I've made a lot of Halloween costumes in my day because I'm a mom and I love cosplay.
Yeah.
So it's always come correct on costumes.
Okay.
So I know how to make like costume boots. So I could make you, like, if you have brown shoes, I could make you a pair of, basically it's like stirrups that you put on over your brown shoes to make it look like you got some Jack Burton boots, unless you want to go out and find some boots like that.
Yeah.
But if you want to be Jack Burton, give me some heads up and measure your calf and I'll hook it up.
I tell you what, I'm going to go home right now. I'm going to measure my calf and I'm going to be like, you get that fucking vaccine out, because I am going to be strutting my shit come this October, and there better be people out to watch.
Right?
That's oof. I'm going to take you up on that.
I will. You got to give me like 6 weeks notice, but yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm not. Well, actually, I have pretty big calves, so it takes a while to measure them. But I'll see the best I can do.
Yeah, and don't be trying to do no calf lifts right before Halloween. Don't be hitting the calf lifts. You're like,
I'm gonna be sitting here throughout the podcast, just like, I don't know what you're talking about. This is how I sit.
you know that thing at the gym where it goes across your quads and you lift it. When they do the calf lift, the sitting calf lift.
Yeah.
That's where you're at all the time.
I'm gonna bring my own machine everywhere. You mind if I set this up? Cool, thanks.
I'm working my calves.
That's dope. I got Halloween's coming up, so I gotta get them popping. I gotta fill out the boots. You know what I'm saying? That's dope. No, I mean I didn't see this movie. So did you see this movie when you were young? I didn't see it until
Yes, I saw it when I was young.
Within
I probably
the last
saw it
10
at the
years.
same time I saw Golden Child.
Yeah. Okay.
It was in that same range. Yes, I saw it originally, and it was one of the very few representations of Asians that I saw on screen. So I came from a very different perspective. But yeah.
Okay, because I didn't see this until 2013, I think 2014. It was on Netflix, and I watched it with some friends getting drunk. We just had a bottle of whiskey. We're like, let's watch this movie. They had seen it, I hadn't. And when I say every time I recommend this movie to someone, I'm like, honestly, you should probably get drunk as you watch it, because just the crazier the plot gets lines up perfectly with how drunk you get. Unless you just down the bottle in the first 10 minutes and you're like, let's see what happens. It's not going to be fun. But just as you go, the movie itself just gets so crazy and out there that you're just like, what? Just watching it normally, you're like, what the fuck is going on? But then if you're getting drunk, you're like, what is this? And then you're like, all right, I'm a little more buzzed. And now there's monsters? Like,
yeah, exactly.
What? And I remember walking, stumbling away, but being like, who the fuck? So many people said yes to this. The process in my mind is someone wrote this, then showed it to someone else, and they were like, yes. And then they were like, we got to show this to this guy with all the money. Show it to that person. They're like,
hell yeah.
Yes. And then they go through all the shooting, and everyone is like, hell yeah.
Yes.
This is great. Then they sit down to edit it, and they're like, still great ideas that we have. None of this is weird.
No, none of it. It's all a great idea. We all love it.
Yeah.
And it's John Carpenter's on board.
That's true. That's true.
John Carpenter was on board all the way through. They didn't get no fly by night. No, they got John Carpenter on this.
Yeah.
Right.
And it was,
so,
I'd say going into highs and lows right away. That was huge high. And like, I looked it up and apparently, Kurt Russell was like skittish to do this movie because he had like 3 or 4 flops before that. So he was like, just kind of, I guess, feeling down or whatever. And John Carpenter was like, I don't care. I just want to make this movie with you. You know, real bonding bro moment. Really chokes you up. But he was just like, I don't give a fuck. Like, I just want you in this movie. So let's do it. And then they did it. It did bomb at the box office.
oh, that's what I was wondering. Did it bomb?
Yeah, it did because it was, one, the studio didn't really like market it well because they couldn't figure out how. They like for some reason didn't know what to do. But also Alien came out like a few weeks after. So they were like in that, you know, kind of in that zone. That's like there was some like week in the, not week, but like part of the 90s where like a shit ton of huge movies came out. And some like really good ones did as well, but it's just like up against like Titanic or like Toy Story or like shit like that. Actually, Balto, the last episode that we did with Monica Nevi, check it out. Balto came out against Toy Story. Yeah, so I mean it did flop because the studio was kind of just like, I don't know how to market this, which I believe because there's so many elements in this movie that you're kind of like, what the fuck is going on?
Is it a comedy? Is it a romance? Is it is it horror?
Is it action? Is it sci-fi?
Is it like Asian exploitation? What is this?
Yeah.
You know, like what is this? I don't understand what's going on. Like, is it a mystery?
Yeah.
We don't know. It didn't know. It also didn't know what it was.
No, for sure.
It was funny though because right at the beginning, from the jump, my favorite, right from the beginning, it was just like a casual morning, and then homeboy was like, "I'm going to the airport to pick up my bride that I've been trying to get here through blood, sweat, and tears for the last, 50 years.
So who we picking up?
A girl. I don't want to talk about it.
Girl? Where from?
Peking. This is a big day in my life. I'm gonna marry her, Jack.
Oh, God.
I've known her since we were kids, but I haven't seen her in 5 years. I came here alone. I worked my fingers till they bled. Before you knew me, Jack, I slept on the floor. I saved every nickel to bring her here because I love her so much, Jack. I can't eat, sleep, or think properly without her anymore. She's gonna put my whole life in order. Boy, listen to me, huh? Real tough guy, yeah?
Why are you on the docks, like, betting all the money you have? You're supposed
Because
to be at the airport.
he's gonna win big and then be like, yeah, that is an interesting choice. The night before you pick up your bride to be, you stay up all night gambling.
Because you say you could cut a beer bottle clean in half?
It's all in the reflexes.
It always works at home.
Yeah, well, have me over for dinner some year and prove it. In the meantime, pay up $1,148 times 2.
You were so dumb.
But in
I
that-
hope she never finds you, because you suck. You are a stupid man if you spend your time cutting bottles in half. You dumb motherfucker.
Honestly, I think this whole, like, everything that happened saved him. Otherwise, she would have been like, why do you smell like shit? And why are you so tired? And why are you broke? And he would have had to be like, long story. But then, like, all of this happens. And now it's like they're not going to talk about anything else. Like I'm broke because I dropped my wallet when we were fleeing from the fucking monster with a million eyes. Like,
Yeah,
you know,
you're right. Good save, right?
good save. Although I do have a bone to pick with him because he says, and it bothers me to no end every time. He says it like 3 or 4 times, but when he's like,
Nothing a double.
it's like it's
Yeah,
it's
me
double
too.
it's double or
Me
nothing,
too.
bro.
Me too.
It's double or nothing.
I got so upset. And here's the thing. Here's the thing that I want to say on a personal. I don't want to change the subject or anything, but I invited a friend that is in my pod over to watch the movie with me, who promptly went to sleep. Like literally
That's
came
disrespect.
over, got the whole thing dialed in, and looked over, and I was like, and you know that scene's right at the beginning of the
Yeah.
damn movie, and I was like, nothing or double, nothing or double, nothing or double,
And then
and
they're
then I
like-
looked over, homie's snoring, literally snoring. And I'm like, for real?
That's
That's
disrespect.
the whole point in watching a movie with somebody is so you can get that for real.
Especially,
I mean, not that for real, but the...
Especially, yo, you trying to get that for real? But it's like, especially right now, it's like, yo, letting you into my house, that's danger. I'm living on the edge, just letting you in, and then you're gonna fucking take a nap. Take a nap at your own place, bro. What? You don't have a couch over there? You don't have pillows? Get out of here.
No, fully asleep, snoring. I was like, oh, we was gonna watch Big Trouble in Little China. You're having a dream.
I would have been like, hey, you wake your ass up. Pause the movie and then wait for them to wake up. Then when they wake up, you're staring at them and you're just like, okay. And then starting, like, it's still 3 minutes into the movie. It's been like 2 hours.
And then I'm like, ahem.
I rewinded a little bit because he said nothing or double, and it really bothered me. And I just like, does that bother you too? Oh, you're asleep again? Okay, well, get out. There's the dough. Get out. But yeah, nothing or double. And then later in the movie, at the very end, when he's handing Jack the check, finally, and is like, how about nothing or triple? And it's like, that's not it.
That's why white people don't like Asian people.
Because Asian people say nothing or double?
Because we fuck up sayings. That's what they're trying to say. That's how racism starts right there. That's a perpetuation of racism. They're like, oh, those fucking Asians, they don't know sayings.
So you think out of this whole movie, I mean, we can definitely get into it, but I personally was like, for an 80s movie, I feel like this could have been way more racist.
Yeah, way more.
I was like, I thought it did a pretty good job. But so you think they were like, you know what? What if we like make them look good throughout the whole movie, but they just
Nothing or double.
and that's and all the white people were in the office like, yeah, that'll start it. That'll do it.
Yes.
You think that was their little subliminal thing?
It is, because it's like that little incendiary remark that somebody says to make you know that we know that you ain't a part of this. Because you a foreigner, because you say nothing or double. We all know ching chong ding dong ain't supposed to be here. Because he says nothing or double and nobody says it. And then goes in at the end and says nothing or triple.
Yeah.
And which I have never heard.
No, yeah, that I've never.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, that's how they always try to perpetuate the Asians' otherness. You know what I'm saying?
But okay, not to defend the whites here, but do you think if they really wanted it to be like, isn't this guy fucking weird? Shouldn't he leave? Would Jack just look at him and be like,
I don't even know what the hell that means.
and he's like, what? And then he says it again. And again, he's like, oh, you mean double or nothing?
Yeah,
That's
you're right.
That's how we say it in the States.
I retract it.
Maybe I should go into writing racism in movies because that came pretty naturally.
It did. It came so good. It's like, you know, y'all, that's what you should do. You should go in for the whites and you should go in and be like, y'all should be happy because these movies could have been hella worse.
Yeah.
You know why? You know why? Go to my YouTube channel where I make these movies way more racist.
Right. I'm like when people and comedians go into like punch up scripts and like add jokes and shit, but I'm just like, all right, how do I hate this up? It's just like a dramatic montage of me at like a typewriter with like one lamp in the room and like a pencil, and I'm just like, no, more papers.
Not hateful enough. Not hateful enough. You're like, talk about his birthmark some more. Talk about his birthmark some more.
Someone comes in to like give me some tea and I just smack it out of their hand.
I know. It's just like, can't you see I'm working?
Quick, what would you say to someone who's from Eastern Mexico? And they're like, what? I'm like, don't worry about it.
She said, never mind. You just never have any ideas.
Get out of here, Stacy. Why do I keep you around? And then it cuts to them in the boardroom. They're reading it, and they're like, wow, I've never even heard any of these things before, and I'm like, what can I say? I'm an innovator.
I'm an innovator. I'm out here.
I'm an innovator.
Ooh, you know what they say? You know what they say about people like you? Got the ear to the streets. You got your ear to the hater on the street.
I know what's going on. I know who's hating who, what they're saying, what they don't like, what they do like, what they smell like, okay? I know everything. Oh my God, what am I doing with this podcast shit, man? I need to go to that. That would be so funny though, emailing like a studio and being like, hey, if you guys ever need a punch up, but for especially in this day and age, be like, if you ever want to make a movie less inclusive, take my card.
I'm your guy.
I think I can. I've been banned from a lot of comedy scenes, so please take my card.
No, you can have your little reel and you'll do it to Big Trouble in Little China.
That's true. Yeah, this is my highlight reel.
Look what I've done to these hits.
This is my highlight reel is on like Mega Video or something. It's like, yeah, it's banned from YouTube, so that should tell you something right away, huh?
YouTube Red. I don't know why YouTube Red seems like it's going to be nasty, but it's not. It's just YouTube, but paid, right?
I think it's just YouTube Premium.
But why is you calling it YouTube Red? Sound like it's about to be.
Because kids love red. That's the new thing. It
Or
used to
is
be
that just me?
cigarettes. Now it's red. I don't know.
Is it just me?
What?
Do you feel like calling it YouTube Red makes it sound like it's adult?
Oh, yeah, it sounds like RedTube, which is already a porn site.
Oh, that's what it is. Okay,
Yeah.
That's why. That was in there. I think that was in there. That's somewhere.
That sounds
That's
like
what it
the
Nothing adult.
that version of YouTube, of RedTube.
Yes.
They say YouTube Red, and it's like, this fucking guy doesn't even know the language. It's RedTube. Do you even?
Nobody wanted to tell him. Nobody wanted to.
Do you even jack off, buddy? Please get out of here. Ugh.
Do you even jack off?
All right. Well, speaking of Jack, let's get back to this movie here.
We can't. We're going on too many tangents.
What were your highs and lows? What were new mini segment within the segment, I guess. What's your highest high and your lowest low?
I would say, like I said earlier, it depends on, it's like beauty is in the eye of the beholder. These could be highs or lows. But I would say the special effects that got so great at the end, as they started to ramp up to a crescendo with the floating eyeball and the monster. Those two, I would say, were highs or lows. I don't know what I'm saying. And the disco den, like how the den at the end was such a different vibe than everything else. Like everything else was like so Asian. And then at the end, it was like, fuck that noise. It's going to be skulls and neon lights. And fuck that. It's going to flash. And it's going to be apartheid. And there's going to be an escalator? What the?
Yeah.
There's going to be an escalator. There's going to be a skull that's like a cartoony skull, not even like in the style of any Chinese nothing. It's going to be cartoon skull like you see on a cartoon. And it's going to be lined in neon lights, fluorescent.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to be fluorescent colors.
Mm-hmm.
All the homies is going to be there. And there's going to be an escalator.
Hey, man, you going to the Skull Lounge tonight? All the homies is going to be there.
And it's going to be right next door to the Upside Down Hell, where everybody's hanging by the chains. That happens to be under Chinatown also.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. People show up and they're like, hey, man, I don't know where you at. Well, what do you see? I got everybody hanging upside down. Oh, you in the Upside Down Hell, dog. That's the room next door. You got to come over to the Disco Lounge. Just follow the neon.
Yeah, David Lopez over here cutting a bunch of women up to drink their blood so his fucking skin ain't so thin. Remember how he's always talking about his skin is hella see-through? Yeah, well, it's not going to be see-through anymore because he's about to lick some blood off this woman's hand. Oh, look it. He started licking it. You better get over here.
Yeah, the party's going to end soon. He's starting to turn human.
He's starting to turn human. You better get your ass over here.
No, I did notice that though when he like puts his hands through. I was like, oh man, that's pretty cool. Even like I'm watching these old movies, I'm realizing how much I don't know, because even then I'm like, I don't know how you would do that, like without computers. I'm like, I have zero idea how you would. When he puts his hands through her, when he's like showing how he, isn't human, but also is like, I'm clearly trying to touch them things. And so he like puts his hands right over him and then goes through and is like, oh man. Like watching that, I was like, I have no idea how you would do that. Like how you would like film, but then they have the lines and movie magic.
I don't know. I guess they filmed it once without her and once with her there, and then. But do you think he was trying to grab her titties and he was like, "Damn it, I'm a ghost, so I can't grab titties."
Yeah, he's like, I need blood so I can feel them. He puts his hands right there.
I just don't feel like there was no like sexual vibe coming from David Lopan. Like there was no like suaveness at all. He had no swag whatsoever. His swag was
if I had one critique, it's get my man some swag, okay?
Like his vibe was just way too much thirstiness. Like settle it down. I know it's been 2,000 years.
I was gonna say he's a little old.
I know, but when he was the pale skin guy, he looked fine. I mean, he was kicking it, right?
Yeah, but he's still like trapped in the spirit realm. So
but
it's
he
like,
can't grab no titties.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where he's like, I ain't trying to be in here no more. What good is the titties if you can't even touch them?
And then he had the long ass fingernails.
Yeah, he had the crazy coke pinkies.
And I was like, come on, homie, stay off the coke. Okay.
That's why he was so pale. He's so flush because he's just 100 miles an hour.
When I was in high school, I had a friend who had her acrylics done, and her pinky nail was always done much longer than the rest, and it had a piercing and had a ring on it, a circle ring, and it said "bitch," and she put it to my face, and I was like, "Ooh, that's cute," and she was like, "It says bitch, 'cause I'm a bitch." Sick.
And you were like, huh, yes, it does.
It does.
I mean, even Lopan though, like his pinky nail, that's the thing, like having the acrylics where they're all long, but then just one is way longer than the others. I'm like, that doesn't even look good.
It's like once you know that you're not the guy who's going to be in the Guinness Book of World Records, you know that guy who takes pictures, the bag. This guy, everybody knows that guy.
Yeah, because everyone saw it in school and was like, ugh. Because then he also
everybody's like, ugh, homeboy.
He
with
also
the bags
like
on his hands.
Yeah, but he got like veins started growing in him.
Veins.
So then he couldn't cut them because it would like hurt. And it's like,
no, if that was my boo, I'd be like, you know what? You're just gonna have 10 moments of pain. Boom, 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 boom. Oh my god, we're cutting them shits off. That's gross.
Yeah, I don't know why you would do that to yourself.
It was so gross because he took pictures. Remember, he had like one. There was like that picture that was like this,
yeah.
And then there was a picture where he was holding his camera set up, and I was like, dude, you're gross. It's sick because there was veins. That's what I remember more than anything. Yeah. There was veins in there.
I wonder what he's doing now.
I don't know. He's just every year he has to get his picture taken because my son gets it every year for Christmas. I buy him the Guinness Book of World Records, and that motherfucker's ass is in it every time.
He's like, still got it. It's your boy.
Look who's back.
7 inches longer this year, baby. What's good? That's so nuts.
Call me David Lopan, bitch.
It's young Lopan up in this bitch. You already know. Go ahead, turn the page. Turn the page. And they're just like swinging. Dear God. All right, well.
So that was the highs and lows for me. That fucking little monster, the little eyeball thing, that was disgusting. Came out of nowhere for no fucking reason. They were like, look, I don't know if this came out around the time that like Ghostbusters came out, but was that like their answer to Slimer? I don't know.
Just the monsters in general really threw me for a loop because I was like, why? Like they're not.
And then the eyeballs that came out of the thing, I was like,
yeah.
But I do have one thing to add, a little aside. when I was a kid, I used to like to go to collectible stores, and there was a collectible store in Pike Place Market in Seattle called Golden Ages, and they have like all kinds of collectibles. I don't know if you're familiar with this place, but they have all these like figurines, and they had figurines from this movie. And yeah, I didn't buy it, but they had one figurine left, and it was called, that monster in the sewer was called on the figurine Wild Chinese Man. And I just could not get over how wildly offensive it was. I wanted to buy it so bad. I never bought it, but I wanted to because I used to be into collecting like weird figurines and stuff. I didn't buy it, but I've always regretted that I didn't buy it. I don't know why I didn't buy it. I remember it being very inexpensive. There was no reason not to buy it. But when I looked at the credits last night, they don't call it Wild Chinese Man. It's called something else, like Sewer Monster.
Yeah, so that was probably an unofficial piece of merchandise.
That was either unofficial, or all the digital ones have been upgraded. They changed the name.
Oh.
So I would like to go to the library and get my ass a DVD from the library. I'm gonna check that shit out like a goddamn Encyclopedia Brown sleuth up in this bitch.
Because then you're like, look, if you're changing that name, why don't you go in and just make them say Double or Nothing? Like, do that too. Just dub that in. Take that little bit of racism out of there too, you know?
Yes.
You don't have to leave it all.
Because you know how they've gone back and taken some movies, they've taken the Twin Towers out?
Yeah.
So like that kind of stuff. So I think they've gone down and changed characters' names. They call it Sewer Monster, but it was called Wild Chinese Man.
Which makes way more sense because you're like, that's not like not to be like, I don't see color, but like race aside, like that's not even a man. That's literally a floating ball of eyes.
Oh no, not that thing. The Yeti Monster.
Oh,
the one that had hops. The one that had that sick vert.
What if I'm like, yeah, no, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah, that's a Chinese guy. That's yeah. Okay, no, that's weird. But that one also, that monster looked like
he looked like Harry from Harry and the Hendersons.
Yeah, like Harry and the Hendersons, and then whatever the like wolf thing was from Ninja Turtles, which we also covered on the podcast. Go check out that episode. Very good. Yeah, it's like a dog. So seeing those, I was like, oh, this is much like that. So maybe they were trying to get that kind of crowd in there too, you know?
What kind of monster was that one asshole that just comes out and eats someone real quick and then never makes another showing?
It's a great question. Great question. And they really...
What were they setting?
They like wrap it up well because it comes out, he throws a thing, and then he's just like, it'll never be back.
You will come out no more.
What? Huh? What'll come out no more?
Come on.
Damn it.
I think everyone watching is like, I'm on Jack's side. I want to know what the fuck that like fish thing was.
I like that though. I like the confidence of the person was like, it ain't gonna be back.
Yeah. Just, we'll put it and we'll just say in the movie, it's not coming back. This movie did do, I won't say it's a high or low, but it's just kind of watching it now. I was like, oh, this is a lot of like exposition. They're just telling you a bunch of shit throughout the movie.
Yes.
And especially the part where Kim Cattrall, I don't remember her character's name, because just
Grace.
Kim Grace, that's what it is. But yeah, there's a scene, I think it's after the big brothel scene, when they all like reconvene and they're like, what the hell just happened? Blah, blah, blah. Which, fun fact, Kurt Russell had the flu during that. So all of his like sweat was just from having a fever and being sick, which is crazy to think about now because it's like COVID. We're like, yo, he should not be around all those people. That's how you spread it. But yeah, they have that scene and they're talking and it's just like the whole part is just exposition where it's just like, all right, now we're going to explain because these people don't know what it is. We're going to explain every single thing. And then they're just like, but what? I don't get it. He's like, I'm not done. Ba-da-da-da-da. So at the end of the scene, you're just all caught up with all the lore.
If the stone's half a mile here, then there's only one place they could take her.
Lopan.
Yes.
The godfather of Little China, Mr. David Lopan. You mean the David Lopan that's chairman of the National Orient Bank and owns the Wing Kong Import-Export Trading Company, but who's so reclusive that no one's even laid eyes on this guy in years?
Who the hell are you, anyway?
I'm going now, alone if I have to.
What? Where? It's pouring out.
Lopan's, the Wing Kong Exchange.
The Wing Kong Exchange? The most dangerous cutthroat den of madmen in Chinatown. You can't just waltz in and out of there like
the wind.
And all that
Is
shit.
that the one where they're like, oh, hi, they only saw me, they didn't see you guys?
Follow the leader. 1, 2, 3. We may be trapped. They only saw me!
That scared me. And once again, homie that was sleeping next to me, I got scared. And I was like, oh! And then I looked over. Homie was in a dream, like deep REM sleep.
You wanted to look over and be like, but no one was there.
Cops. I'm freaked out right now.
No, but you're asleep. You can't call. Yeah, that was. I did have a high though. Just Jack's overall like aloofness and just how he was big macho. You know, like I can do anything. His opening scene, his opening monologue, where he's on the Pork Chop Express, just talking over the radio waves and just saying, is one of my all-time favorite scenes in anything, because you're just like, who the fuck is this guy? This asshole just saying all the dumbest shit.
Jack Burton and the Pork Chop Express, and I'm talking to whoever's listening out there.
Like I told my last wife, I says, honey, I never drive faster than I can see. Besides that, it's all in the reflexes. You just listen to the old Pork Chop Express and take his advice on a dark and stormy night, all right? When some wild-eyed 8-foot-tall maniac grabs your neck, taps the back of your favorite head up against a barroom wall, and he looks you crooked in the eye, and he asks you if you've paid your dues, well, you just stare that big sucker right back in the eye, and you remember what old Jack Burton always says at a time like that. Have you paid your dues, Jack? Yes, sir, the check is in the mail.
There were so many motherfucking check references. Like, what the hell, dude? I don't know any men that deal in checks at all. Like,
it was
there's
a different
so many.
time.
It's a different time. Men were men with checkbooks.
Yeah, you pull out the checkbook, and then all the other guys know you mean business. You got to ask for the date.
Is that a duplicate checkbook? Yeah. Or do you got to write up a receipt on the side?
I got the original and the carbon right underneath, baby, so don't try nothing.
Don't be writing all hard so it goes through multiple.
Don't try to turn this 4 into a 9. Okay, I got the backup. I see what you're doing.
Because I'm a man and I write checks.
But yeah, I mean, he just had like so many just funny lines, because just throughout the I realized throughout the movie, like, he doesn't really add much. Like, if he wasn't there and all of this was still happening, they still would have been all right, you know?
He just causes problems.
Yeah.
Like when they were in the brothel, homie was literally just like, I guess I'm just gonna get fucked really quick.
Yeah.
And then he didn't care, and then he comes out, and then he tried to punch homie in the face 2 times, no problem. That was just bizarre.
Yeah.
His whole look. Well, he felt really good about it. Also, when they were like army crawling through the sewer, and then he took his shirt off for no reason, and then he came out with the tank top. I love that.
Hell yeah, a little wardrobe change. You know, you gotta mix it up. But yeah, he I guess he's like,
hot in the sewer.
He's crawling, and he's like, you know what? I want to remind these guys that I look good, so let me just pop this off real quick. See if they say anything on the other side.
This movie was bonkers. Like, just all the different Asian imagery just smashed together. Like, if you look at it, it's like you got Chinese, you got Thai, you got Japanese, you got some other stuff that isn't even Asian. You got a few African masks in the back. What the fuck?
They're like, they won't know. This is before Google. They can't look it up.
No, they can't look it up. They're like, whatever, man, whatever.
Yeah. I just liked it because it was just like you said, it's insane. This movie is just like, who wrote this? What was the thought process? Like, it's like, it's a Western kind of story, you know. This guy's traveling, you know, he's I need help rescuing this damsel in distress or whatever against these bad guys. Okay, we go off about it. But, you know, like we were saying earlier, it's like, what genre is it though? Because it goes every fucking direction, and then monsters show up, and then there's like fucking these gods with like lightning and thunder and this or that, and then it's like the whole time though, Jack Burton is pretty useless. besides just entertainment. You know, he's kind of like the slapstick.
He's just loudmouth guy, right?
Yeah, I did like the fights in general. I thought they were pretty cool. A lot of
I
good
did
weapons.
The fights were hella good.
My favorite though, at the very beginning when those like 3 gods come in or whatever, and they're like in the alley and they pull up their fucking things, and one of the guy has like the extendo claw things,
I love that
the little hands, and it's like, whoosh, and everyone's like, oh, like that's scary. And then the other guy has like spinning wrenches in his hands.
I love that guy. I love that guy too.
And then he also does like that face that's like, whoa, like with the close up of the face.
Yes, the mean face.
There's a lot of stuff where I don't know if it's because it was a different time or what, but I look at it now and I'm like, that specifically like face stuff, like that face wasn't scary. But then also when they're at the airport and that gang is there and they all turn around and they have like the weirdest sunglasses you've ever fucking seen. And you're like, ooh, what? That's your scary outfit? Like you put this on and you're like, I'm about to go fuck somebody up. Like, I don't get it. I don't get it. Are you gone? I hope you're not just like crawling away. You remember that though? Like they turn around and they're like, "Wah," and you're like,
"What?" It was like, dude, who put those smiley sunglasses on the Chinatown gangsters?
It's so weird. And then that was one of my favorite parts though, when Jack goes up to the dude and is like, all right, now we're going to have a problem, whatever. And then he pulls out the fucking butterfly knife.
You and me have a little talk, friend. What? Yeah! Where'd you get that? Wait a minute, pal.
I assumed then it's like, okay, he's not very useful. So his arc is going to be that, you know, he kind of figures out how to fight. Wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't even have that. Because then when he gets the fucking gun, do you notice when he got the machine gun and they're like shooting and he's like trying to figure it out and then just like
he shoots up the ceiling.
And then he shoots up in the ceiling, knocks the rocks down, and like the big final battle gets knocked out for a little while. But when he first gets that gun, he's like trying to figure out how to use it and he can't. And then he like shoots into the ground a couple times and then it's just like, oh fuck, it just like raises it up and like that's it. And I'm like,
I didn't see that part. That's hilarious.
I'm like, this is now my favorite character because he literally doesn't help them through like anything, but then it somehow still gets the girl. And then at the end, they're just like, damn, Jack, thanks for that. And he's like, what can I say? I'm pretty badass. And then leaves.
Yeah, so like, is this the original like Anchorman?
Oh, you think so?
I mean, is it that self-aware? Is it aware? We have to ask ourselves.
I don't think. And everyone, let's take about 5 minutes to just silently reflect and ask ourselves: Is that what this is?
Because it's too much sometimes. It's too much. The bear claws were out of fucking control. Because I buy those for my kids at the airport every time I go somewhere because they break them every time. Every time I go somewhere, I get those at the airport because they go ape shit for back scratchers.
That's what it was. I was like, this looks like something, but I kept thinking of like the grabby extendo things, but it's a back scratcher.
Yes, because they sell them at every airport. They'll be like, thanks for visiting San Diego.
Yeah.
Here's a bear back scratcher. You know what I'm saying? Put your name on it. Here, Craig.
Thanks for coming to San Diego. We know you're going to have an itchy back after this. So why don't you just...
You cut them zits. Motherfucker. Don't forget about your back knee, bitch. Yeah. So I get them every time, and my kids love them. And then when I saw them, that's all I thought. I was like, oh, he has 2 bear back scratchers.
Yeah.
And then this thing looked like the fidget spinner, this guy.
Yeah, you put them up, and then they like just started spinning.
Fidget spinners, which doesn't read scary in 2021 because fidget spinners.
But that's what, like, even when he did that, I was like, okay, what is the actual, like...
He's going to cut his own fingers before he cuts me. You'd be like, yo, homie, you're going to cut your fingers if you try to cut me.
He has to make sure his hands are, like, really... He's like, if I bend my fingers a little bit, they're just going to get... cut right off, so I gotta really put my palms out and just stay away.
That's real Chinese ingenuity right there. I just don't feel like I don't know if I would survive if I was in one of those packs of people. Like I always like watching
A
Game of
gang.
Thrones and shit, and you think like if I was in a pack, where would I be? Would I be at the front? Would I have a spear? Would I be on a horse? Would I be curled up in a ball crying? How would I deal
Would you be
with the
holding it down back at the settlement? You know, just making sure the fires are tended and everything, so when they come back.
yeah, fires are tended. Yeah. I mean, hey guys, it's cool, right? If I just hang back, are we good? I'll just catch you on the flippity flop, right?
That's the
Like I
thing.
see you after the battle.
You get really good at making a fire, and then they're like, fuck, no one can do it like Dewa does. And so, like, if she dies, and then you just don't teach anyone, that's the thing. So it's like you kind of cement yourself, you know?
There's no food if there's no fire, right?
Yeah, it's all raw. And it's like, come on, you really want to eat raw food? Come on.
Nobody wants to eat raw food.
Come on.
What I was going to tell you something that's kind of dope though. It's a little aside that I just remembered. But
Okay.
my daughter, when she was 8 and her best friend was 7, she's got this little. Her little best friend did this martial art called wushu.
Oh.
And wushu, I don't know if it's a well-known martial art or whatever, but this little kid in the neighborhood was messing with him. His name was Royal, and he was fucking with my daughter and her best friend, and they were like, knock it off. And then he would not knock it off. So her little friend went into her house and came back with her nunchucks.
Oh, hell
and
yeah.
she just went like this, and she did this. And yeah, he didn't mess with them no more. And my heart grew so big that day. And I was like, man, I wish I had a homegirl that knew how to use nunchucks. Or I wish I was that homegirl that knows how to use nunchucks, because I used to have a boyfriend that had the nunchucks with the foam on it, like to practice.
Yeah.
And I have busted my head so many times practicing nunchucks. And I just don't think it's meant to be for me in nunchucks.
Then you got to you're at the club. You're like, you want to keep going? Carol, bust him out. Bust him out, bro. And she just fucking comes through the crowd. Dude's like, hey, my bad.
That's what I'm talking about. This next generation, my daughter's generation, my son's generation, they do not play. I
see, that's dope. And you probably shouldn't have told me that story, because I do have a pair of wooden nunchucks. And like, someone gave him, an old coworker gave them to me. He was like, yeah, I found these in my garage. You want them? And I was like, fuck yeah. So then I think I put them in my car and kind of forgot about them. But then when people would ride with me, they'd be like, why do you have these? And I'm like, because think about it. You're about to get into it with someone on the street. They pop out with these. You don't have these if you don't know what you're doing. So it's kind of, I was also in that same line for a while where I was like, man, if I ever get into a bar fight and I'm like, you don't want to mess with me. And someone's like, okay. And I'm like, very calm, but just like, for real, like, you don't want it. You'd take a second to be like, this person knows something I don't know, you know? Mm-hmm. I never tested it, but in my head, I was like, I'm pretty sure this will work. So then that nunchuck thing was like kind of the same thing, where I'm like, someone comes out with those, you're like, hold on, they know something I don't know. So now that you told me that just kind of reinforced, like, I might have to tuck him back under the seat.
Oh, you took him out?
I took him out, yeah. I took him out.
Oh, put him back, for sure.
Because is that considered a wet, like, if you get pulled over, do you have to, like, announce those to the cops?
I know, Elliott, don't get killed over some nunchucks.
But that's what I'm saying. I was like, I don't know if I want all the smoke.
Oh my God, Elliott, don't be the next.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, anything you want to tell me? Yeah, I have some nunchucks under the seat.
They're like, fuck you, nerd.
They're like, actually, bro, just keep going, dude. We don't want the smoke. Keep going.
We don't want the smoke.
It's like, damn, bro, that's pretty badass.
She's badass. The little girl, she also knows how to do the fan with the knives at the end, okay?
Whoa.
Yeah, they do pretend when they're practicing, but she can do fans with knives at the end, and I was very impressed. That's what I mean. And you're right. I've always wanted, in that movie Out of Sight with Jennifer Lopez and George Clooney, you know that movie? Yeah. She's got one of those fucking batons, and she keeps in her sleeve, and she just like has a button, and it turns out. And I was like, man, where do you get one of those? I feel like it's a smoke shop.
That's what they, yeah. But you have to like ask. It's not on display. You're just like, you guys got any? And they're like, say less, and they just bust them out. Right? They had
They're gonna,
those
like,
in
go
this movie.
in the hookah pipes.
Yeah, yeah. They just move a couple boxes. They're just like, it's right there. But they had them in the movie. All the in that same scene when all the gangs come out, they pop out and they have like the gold ones, but they're like extendo staffs for some reason. I'm like, those aren't as strong as regular ones. Just use a regular one.
That's what I love. Like when Jennifer Lopez does it in the movie, they're trying to fuck with her and she's like, psh, and she like hits it. And then she's like, don't. And then she busts him upside the head.
Yeah.
I'm ready for it. I need that weapon in my life. But I don't know. I'd probably have it used against me, to be honest.
That's how most weapons end up. And that's honestly partially why I took the nunchucks out. I was like, you know what? Someone might show up that knows them better than me and be like, let me show you a thing or two.
I know, because that's what I did with the nunchucks. When I got my boyfriend's nunchucks when I was a teenager, I tried to fuck around and use them and busted myself twice in the head. And I was like, I'm done. That hurt.
You live,
very
you live
bad.
and learn. You're like, you know what? I tried them. I know how it feels. I'm good. Never again. Never again.
No. I mean, you know, it's hard out here to be Asian because growing up in the 80s, everybody thought you knew Kung Fu. Right? And I was like, you know what? It's a lot of pressure.
And then they hand you the nunchucks and you're like,
Yeah, the nunchucks, and you're like,
then you knock yourself out and you look like, and everyone's like,
you look like shit.
yeah.
You look like shit. You look like an asshole. You're like, you know, everybody hates you and you got 2 black eyes.
That's just no fun. It doesn't matter what year it is. That's just no fun.
No.
That's timeless. That's something that's timeless.
I know, it's timeless. I went through a lot, man, like watching goddamn Big Trouble in Little China, thinking about nunchucks, thinking about fidget spinners, thinking about those hats those guys were wearing on their heads for no reason.
Those fucking dope hats. Those are kind of dope hats.
The scene, where did they shoot this thing? Well, where did they shoot the semi-truck scenes? Was that inside of a box? It looked like it was inside of a box.
It was definitely
and
a lot.
They were just like going like this.
Yeah. The people on the side. Just pushing.
And was it CB radio basically in today? Would that be Twitter? Was he tweeting?
No, I guess today it would be like Clubhouse. You ever fuck with Clubhouse?
No, I don't
Because
fuck
it's
with
just like
Clubhouse.
audio.
What's Clubhouse?
You just get on there and talk. But I mean, before that, it would be like Twitter or like Instagram Live. He could be going live on Instagram and just talking.
And from his semi?
Yeah, from a semi. Very dangerous, just driving.
I wonder if there's semi-truck drivers out there that do it. And also,
probably
what does big semi have in Hollywood? They are overrepresented in Hollywood.
They're
you know,
everywhere.
like semi-truck drivers. I mean, there's so many movies written about semi-truck drivers, and like, how many movies are written about, you know, like a teacher? You know, just a fucking teacher. Just like they got action movies about semi-truck drivers, man.
And
Semi-truck
you know what?
drivers don't do shit.
That's a good point, and this is perfect. We got to wrap up, but perfect going into prequel, sequel, reboot. Would you say a reboot, but Jack Burton is instead a teacher, instead of a semi-truck driver?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I like it.
Yeah?
I like it. I like it.
And he's just, you know, trying to reach these kids and change lives, and then all of a sudden is just sucked into this world of magic and
the
Asian
underbelly
people
of Chinatown.
and the
Yes,
underbelly
I like
of
it.
Chinatown. Yeah.
I
Okay.
like it.
I fuck with
I
that.
do.
I personally would just say leave it alone. I think this movie stands the test of time and will hold up forever.
I thought that was your choice. I was just yes-anding your choice. No, that is not my choice.
Okay.
I was
all right,
yes-anding
yeah.
my choice. My choice is leave it alone.
Oh, okay.
You can't mess with the classic like that.
Yeah. I mean, they did kind of set it up at the end where the monster climbs up onto his truck. I feel like they were setting it up for a sequel, but then...
For no goddamn reason.
Exactly.
But just to do it.
Exactly.
For no goddamn reason, just to say, guess what? We got a bunch of money at the end for special effects, and we got to throw this motherfucker wild Chinese man in it again.
They were probably like, you know what? We have the costume for one more day.
Why not?
Might as well throw it in there. They asked
you
the
know
guy
what?
who's in it. They're like, Greg, you cool with climbing on the truck? He's like, fuck yeah. They're like,
Yeah, he's
all right.
like, I'm on union. I'm union, okay? You get me in here for 3 hours, you get me in for 6 hours. It's, you know. You know what I'm saying?
I'll do whatever, bro. I don't give a
I'll
fuck.
do whatever. I'll be here, whatever. Whatever. Okay? Rain, sleet, snow, whatever.
I'm like the
I'm
post
union.
office, baby.
But I'm the wild Chinese man. Don't sleep on me. Don't sleep on me.
God damn. All right, well, we got to wrap it up. Where can people find you? You have your own podcast. Plug that, whatever you want to plug.
Dank Moms, on Spotify, iTunes, Google, all the what do you call it? The podcast.
The major hitters.
Platforms, that's what they call it.
Yeah.
And you Instagram at Dewa Dorje, and on Twitter at the only Dewa. Dewa spelled DEWA, and yeah, hopefully I'll be doing comedy again soon, doing some stand-up soon, but just working on the pod, just working on doing Zoom comedy, hosting things, and having fun, and trying to stay sane.
Dope.
And watching movies.
Watching movies. Dope. All right, well, that's Dewa. Check her out. As always, you can find me on all platforms at Grent Radish, GrentRaddish. Follow the podcast on all platforms at The Older Kids Pod. We're on TikTok now. Follow us on TikTok, posting clips. Make sure you subscribe wherever you're listening. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe. If you laughed at all, you legally have to subscribe. It's illegal if you don't. If you got any enjoyment out of this, you legally have to subscribe. Dewa's in rockstar mode, which means also subscribe, smash that like button, elbow drop the notification bell so you know every time we post a video. Also, if you're on Apple Podcasts or iTunes, whatever it is now, 5-star review, please. 5 stars, 4 stars, 3 stars. Anything below that is just email me. Let's talk about it. Let's be adults, okay?
This is Chinese gangster right here.
That's Dewa's in costume. And if you are gonna do a sequel for whatever reason, please don't. But look at that. You got a gangster right there. Boom. Casting. 1 character. Done. We did it for you. Cut me a check. 10%. All right. Well, we got to get out of here. Thanks for listening. Tune in next time when we cover another great movie with another great guest. Bye.
Time to go.